Hello. Oh boy. I made it in time. Hello. Okay, more work on Alloy tonight. Earlier today I fixed the rendering problems that we had last time. So now image rendering works okay, and the transforms work okay, and all of that stuff. So if you look at our foo thingy, as you can see, I can now scale it up and I can add images and, you know, fun. So, alloy. Before we're quite done though, there is one problem in the simple interface which I need to fix. Protocol. Namely, the text here does not allow me to specify the alignment and the direction of the text. So we are gonna fix that.
Can you
Now,
push the button yet?
no, it's just an image after all. Okay, where was that? Right, so I need to go back to the SVG spec, SVG 1.1 spec, and figure out how I can specify the text alignment and direction properties. Okay. Let's see. Text. Text layout, maybe? Text alignment properties. Spacing. Text layout, maybe. Text anchor is used to align start, middle, or end string of text relative to a given point. Huh. Okay. Align left and direction right. If I could type, that is. So. Hmm. Hmm. It's actually probably better to use start, middle, and end, given that the direction can change which way things are going. Actually, how does this... Yeah, okay. For an element of the direction property of LTR, left side of text is rendered at the initial text position. Right side is the initial... Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So I'm gonna keep the properties here as well. Default is gonna be start. And direction is apparently already what I need. Not quite. So this only has left to right and right to left, not a top to bottom direction. This layout. What is the relationship between the writing mode and the direction? Text is complicated. Way too much so. So I'm still a bit confused about writing mode and direction. I'm just gonna try here and see what happens if I set these writing mode case direction. Right is gonna be LRTB. Left is gonna be RLTB. Down is gonna be TV. Yes. Up. There's no bottom to top, huh? Okay. Okay. Let me quickly try. Okay, good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. And if I now make the align mill. Yes. Excellent. Okay, sick. Though the baseline alignment is kind of weird. Huh.
It's all down ways.
Okay, so that's that figured out. Mostly. Not sure if it's... Yeah, there's no top to bottom, left to right. Yeah. I think these are just aliases. Even though I could also see wanting to have top to bottom, left to right, but I guess they don't have that at all. Annoying. Well, in this case we don't care because we're only handling single lines anyway, or I'm not yet sure whether we handle multiple lines. Okay. In any case, that's the renderer. So I'm gonna close this away for now. Alright. Alright. So today we're gonna work on actual components. So standardized components for things. And yeah. That's gonna be something. Now, the conundrum I've been having for a long time is the question of what to do with layouts that change their stuff, or well, layouts and components that change their preferred size due to new sizing constraints. And I have a solution for that now, but I was still having a problem of how do we actually recompute these size constraints, because I was planning on having all kinds of text rendering information for text representation and text metric and whatever information in the renderer, but for elements where you have line wrapping and things like that, in order to actually do the line wrapping, you need to have font metric information, and so that's part of the renderer. And how do you deal with that? Because the places where the layout recomputation or whatever happens don't have access to the renderer instance. So that's the problem. Now I thought about this again a bit, and my solution so far that I've come up with is to say that this is fine, and we're going to concentrate on the case where we don't have line wrapping at all. So we're only going to deal with components that don't handle line wrapping in any way, shape or form, for now. And then we can add a secondary optional system that does the line wrapping stuff by loading in fonts and doing the analysis and whatever, and wrapping those lines independently of any renderer. And that system will provide elements that do have line wrapping. So that's the idea. In that way, some amount of information is going to be duplicated between the renderer and the line wrapping stuff, but in the very least we're gonna have mostly standardized components to do so, and we're gonna not need to offer that if a renderer should choose to actually, yeah, if a renderer should choose to do that on their no. It gets a bit more complicated still, because some of those might not need to do layout recomputation. So we can also offer line wrapped components in the standard library, just don't without handling the actual line wrapping at all. But it's all a mess. In any case, for now, we're going to focus on creating components that have a relatively simple behavior, or a behavior we can standardize with the set of tools we've been given for now. Okay. So I did not plan for this stuff, which is bad. Because it means I'll be floundering about for a bit. I did write a couple of, well, 2 layouts already. I can show you those real quick. I wrote a fixed layout. I think I did part of that on stream, which simply fixes an element's size to something and calculates the bounds of the layout itself to be the maximum included bounds of all its contained elements. And a simple linear layout which just stacks the boxes in a linear fashion, either from left to right or from top to bottom, or bottom to top. I forget which it is. I think bottom to top and left to right, yeah. So these are the horizontal linear layout and the vertical linear layout. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Could also do an align here, actually. Let's do that. form is going to be start. No, not notice bound. There we go. Now I just need to change these. These are very, very simple layouts because all I need to do is just increase the coordinates. And what I have is I allow you to specify whether elements should be stretched to the width or height respectively, or whether they should allow to be whatever they want up to a maximum. Okay, so if we have an alignment, we need to check case line layout. If it is left, then it's a line. If it's right, it's minus, or it's plus OY in width, or not in width. Okay. No, wait. Why is what? No, oh, wait. I'm getting confused, and I'm a dumbass. Okay, we're doing vertical is top down. I keep confusing things. So, need these. Should be left. Should be start and end. Idiot. There we go. There we go. Now we can set things to align whichever way we want. Great. I was also thinking of doing flow layouts and things like that. Flow layout is another easy one, which is a bit more it's very similar to the linear layouts, but instead of just going beyond the singular line you have, if you exceed your bounds, you simply wrap to another line which is as tall as possible, and then you don't have a stretch factor anymore, so you can't stretch. Obviously, because you're going to need multiple lines. So you're always going to fit things as tightly as possible. Yeah. But for now, let's keep with these. Anyway, that's the layout stuff. Let's think some more about what kinds of components we have. So obviously we're going to have a button, which is going to be, I guess, a kind of label. And then we'll have a what else do we really need to begin with? I guess a text box. Well, I think I'm gonna call these input line and input box for the multi-line variant. What other kinds of UI elements are important? I know there's a ton of UI elements. I'm asking which are really important. Oh god. Baby screaming outside. Guess a switch. So, like a toggle button.
Image.
An image isn't. I guess an icon. Yeah. Toggle button, a switch, I guess.
Drop-down menu, if you want to implement that.
That's an entirely different thing then. That's not really... Drop-down menu isn't really a component though. Drop-down menu is just a kind of layout triggered by a toggle button, I feel like.
What about tables and lists?
Well, lists are definitely a layout. It's just a vertical layout with a scrolling area. The scrolling areas are actually one thing that I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm still not quite sure how to deal with those. I feel like scrolling should be two parts. One part of the scrolling stuff should be a layout, and the other should be a set of components that are draggable buttons, basically, which when dragged are going to, or sliders really, which when you slide them around, they change the offset of the layout. So a scroll bar will be more of a slider, really. So we're gonna need a slider. And tables, yeah, tables again are more a layout kind of thing. Because again, remember, in Alloy, the way things are presented to you on screen is two parts. One part is the layout, which orchestrates how stuff, where stuff fits, and the other is what's actually there, which is the component. And to me, a table is more just a collection of components or laid out in a specific manner. For this kind of stuff, I've also been thinking about something like prefabs, but I don't like that name. The idea being that you can define stuff that'll set up a specific um, layout and focus hierarchy with pre-made components filled in, or some kind of factory that allows you to more quickly assemble layouts from component or UI from components, layouts, and focus parts, so that you can sort of, encompass common patterns and make them easier to put together. Because Alloy is very much about tearing things apart into their simplest components, which means that as an effect of that, it's going to be very verbose to put together stuff. So making that easier is definitely going to be a priority as well, sometime down the road. Okay, I'm not sure I like buttons being labels. Mm. 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 Yeah. Okay, so for instance, for the button, we are gonna have an activate method. Where, for the button that should be the switch, we have a state, I guess. Bad name, but I don't know what else to do with that. When we activate it, it just flips the state. For instance. I'm not sure about the slider. Because it almost feels too much like part of the layout thing. The slider is really an area that has a button in it. I don't know. Or a draggable thingy in it. Not a button. Was it text event? Alright, so we get to the exciting stuff of programming a text input field, which means handling events and cursors and oh boy. It's a whole shebang. Oh, we already have array utils. Cool. So press backspace, and we're not yet at the beginning of the text. We do array utils. Array. No. Vector pop position. Position is going to be 1 minus the cursor. Or cursor, but then we increase it also. And when we delete, it's when the cursor is smaller than 1 minus the length of the text. Vector position. There we go. That should handle that. Yeah, handling things like selection and whatever is going to be even more painful. It's gonna be great. Okay. Left and right arrows are gonna be needed, and home and end as well. So what else? Guess insert mode will be one thing. I'm gonna leave that out for now. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make a note to do insert mode to do selection. Where's the didn't we have paste events or whatever? Also, this shouldn't be key events, should be key down, up. And we need key repeats. So there's typically a thing where if you keep the key pressed for long enough, it starts repeating it automatically in an interval, which doesn't happen here, so we need to simulate that. And things like that. So we don't have a paste API. Or paste event. I know we have the clipboard for currently. Okay, so let's add that, I guess. That is going to be a direct event, and I guess text event. You can't paste more than text though. I think that's kind of a mess. So let's see the class paste event. So I guess we're gonna do data or def class text paste event text event. No, that's not a text event. Never mind. No, we're just gonna do data. Or let's do content instead. There we go. Okay. That method handle. When string p, or I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay. We're gonna need to handle that in input line to filter out potential new lines or whatever. So, is there an easier way to append two vectors together? I guess replace would be that. When smaller plus length text component length content event smaller than an array total size, then just the thing. Actually, so fill pointer t should be the length. So I want to check this. At a make array whether the fill pointer updates to the newly specified size. Adjustable t fill pointer t. Malleus. Or just array a 10 fill pointer t. Yes. Good. Excellent. So here we need to do something very similar, except we replace content with move. Turn on the feed. Okay. Great. I don't think that's more efficient, but whatever. Don't care too much right now. So that should be paste handled. To copy. All right. So that should cover most of the actual input logic behind these. I believe. I believe handler is actually in the thing. Loop around. No, that's not. Wait, what? Fuck. What am I looking for? I'm looking for something that automatically makes the event bubble upwards. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing here as far as I can see. Oh yeah, the default method does that. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. So we're gonna do it like this. Okay. And here again. Bubble it upwards. Copy this stuff. Okay. Actually, that brings me to a problem. because we don't always have a default method or a component on handle. Like we do for a focus element. Here we can add that because we can know the parent, but for the component we cannot. So how do we do that? I guess we gonna have the same thing as for, what was it? There's a way to this one, yeah, decline. So it's around everything. So hold on, focus tree, focus entry. Unless, so if this did not succeed, then we call next method here. That seems fair. And then the default handling and components is going to be to call decline. So components, method handle. I'm gonna say decline. Good. Okay, that's another problem solved. Hooray! So I'm gonna make the slider component. It's better this way. So the slider needs to know what we are sliding. So there's a lot of ways of doing the slider. Sliders are very versatile. You can have a linear range, you can have a logarithmic range, you can have a practically unbounded range, you can have different kinds of jumps between possible values. You can have discrete states, so a set of states you want to select between. You can have sort of snapping to certain values, but not a fixed grid. Yeah. Sliders are tough because they're very, very, very versatile. The easiest, of course, is a linear slider, but I don't know right now. Here's another question. How is the... So we know that the layout, which handles the display of things, is decoupled from the actual component. So the component is only supposed to... it's only supposed to represent the actual data being held and the ways you can interact with that data. So purely the interactions you have, and no visual information. So when you build your layout and you have, say, a button in there, how do you actually specify what you want that to look like? since it is kind of render dependent. Yeah, currently everything about the display is left up to the render, so we have no protocol at all to influence display in any way at all, which strikes me as not ideal. I wonder. I'm pretty sure we're gonna need to add a couple of different layout entries, I think are called those. What are they? The ones that actually contain a component. Yeah, layout entries. A couple of different layout entry classes that are specific to certain kinds of components and can contain styling information. And I think I'm going to do that in the Alloy Simple protocol, so that we can define rendering behaviors for those directly. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not sure. And yes, it's a lot of going on because I'm thinking and it's not working. My thoughts are not flowing in any way. So for the slider, let's see. We could define a slider as a set of current state plus a state space. And the state space will be some kind of abstract thing that tells us how to advance to the next state or the previous state, or how to estimate a state based on a floating index between 0 and 1, those being the maximum. And I guess a way to iterate through the state space, and I don't know. I don't like this. It's too many possibilities. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Okay. Another thing I noticed, we don't have any events for button ways of sort of pressing down on the thing. We have keys, but not like gamepad buttons or stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna add a way of doing that as well. Button event. Okay, so we can do the same. What is the fucking stuff? I forget. I think A is like confirm universally, right? I think. Okay. Do we have a translation of standard keys to like... I don't think we have a translation to these kinds of events. So we might want to have that as well. Standard translation of button, key, pointer, etc. events to focus events. Okay. All right. To be honest, icons and labels shouldn't even be here. Since they're purely visual, they should just be layout things. Methinks, perhaps. Should that be the case? No, maybe not, because the display would change. Yeah, because they would be tied to calculations, maybe they probably shouldn't be. Meow says your code is so pretty. Thank you. I guess? I don't know what that means really, but I'll take the compliment. It's really dark in my room. I'm gonna turn on the lights real quick. Oh no, Eudoxia left again. Yeah, the slider is still giving me headaches. I'm looking at my notes as if anything were written about sliders in my notes. There's nothing there. Nothing to help me with that. Okay, let's move on to actual rendering of these as well, since the behavior is mostly down. Mind you, we won't actually see the behavior in action yet, because we don't have anything to render with, and no actual interactive framework. SVG doesn't work interactively. So we're gonna have to wait with that. Alright, so again, I feel like for this to work in any sensible question mark capacity, we're gonna need to define a variety of layout entries that are tailored to a specific kind of component, so that when we render that entry, we have some additional information about the styling. If necessary. So this would be akin to attaching like CSS style stuff to a certain element, I guess. Oh, one thing I completely forgot about is whether a component is active or not. So if you want to disable a component, it shouldn't have any interactive capabilities at all, aside from, I guess, being focused. So or, well, the focus is never even on that. Um, so, actually, layout. Why is the order inverted here? What the fuck? Did I... What happened there? That's weird. Oh god. I... That's what I get for never writing unit tests about any of the layout stuff. Not good. Yeah. So what I don't want to do is this. I'm pretty sure I don't want to do this because we don't actually have any render information on the component at all. That has to be on the entry itself. I'm quite sure about that now. So I'm going to remove these with extreme prejudice. Okay. Yeah, this is not even useful now. It's not a warning. Okay, let's also export these, I guess. Okay. God, I hate the mic clipping noise when my birds are so loud. Fuck. Alright. I hate not having any plan on what to do. I really, really do. And right now, I'm about as planless as can be. I feel like there should be an additional generic function, something like render with, which has both the component, the layout entry that contains it, and the renderer and the context. Or, yeah, the renderer as arguments. I feel like that should be something that's happening. Also, I just realized the mistake I made in these when I called exit and stuff like that, because you can't do that. What is it? Focus or what was it? Focus for. No. What was it? Focus element. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Same here. Okay. So now in layout, yes. Jesus Christ, these birds. Element. Okay. Or maybe the component should be first. No. Actually, yeah, I keep forgetting stuff. Should not be a renderable. Should it be? Shouldn't be one. Shouldn't be one. The reason is that the information like mark for render or render needed P can't be shared between multiple layouts. If it's present in multiple layouts at once, then both of these need to be re-rendered. Otherwise, it might be the case that the mark is cleared on one end and it's not updated on the other. And so we need to propagate that otherwise. But we do need to make sure that stuff is updated. That's actually a really big problem. Since we don't know in which layouts the component is present, we don't know how to tell all of them to redraw. I don't know how to deal with that. Well, I'm just writing down a bunch of questions on my note sheet. How do we signal each layout to redraw after a component's content changes? Where do we put styling information? And how? How do we do sliders? What were other questions that cropped up? Oh my god, there's so many changes. Maybe segregate these into nice little commit messages. And not these events. Where is that stuff? That was button event. Paste event was also missing. Where was that? Okay. What does export do? Is that for the API calls? You mean the empty export, or what do you mean? In here? These things, or? So in Common Lisp, Common Lisp has packages which are groups of symbols. Each symbol has a home package but it can be present in many packages. And when you define a package, you can also define a number of symbols that should be exported from that package, and typically this denotes the publicly accessible API. So when you write something like alloy size, then this symbol here is from the alloy package. It's the size symbol, which we export somewhere here. Here. So I can access this symbol like this because it is exported from the package. If it were not exported, it will give me an error. So if I have, what's a symbol that's probably not exported? I don't remember. I export quite a lot from this stuff. Most of this stuff is exported. I guess like error, this symbol is accessible in this package, but it's not exported. So if I do error, then it says the symbol is not external. So what you can do is either double colon, which is typically a huge red flag, because you're directly accessing and turning into a package, or you can export it. But yeah. Do note though that packages, because they only deal with symbols, if you name two different definitions with the same symbol, they're both going to be accessible through the package. So if I have a function named root and a class named root, then they're both going to be accessible because they're both named by the same symbol, which is something that confuses a lot of newcomers because they talk about exporting functions and classes, but you don't export those, you export symbols which name functions and classes. Okay. Yeah, so I have some more homework for myself to do. I can cross some other homework out as solved in the very least. But I do have some more stuff to think about, and I can't think about that now. I'm sorry to say. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to drawing anything, because I realized that the logic between the actual layout rendering and the components itself needs a bit more thought put into it before I can proceed with that. So, yeah, we're gonna be doing that hopefully tomorrow, if I've managed to figure out at least one of the 3 questions I've written down. And if not, then we're gonna do something else. I have a couple of other ideas on things to do, so at least I'm not running flat yet. Specifically, I have an idea for a much better lighting system than the one that's currently in Leaf. So if I don't figure out a solution to this problem by tomorrow, we're gonna do that. And if I do, then hopefully tomorrow we're gonna see some UI rendered. Okay. Let me check again that I pushed everything. Yes, good. Okay, well, that's it. Very light stream tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm sorry as well for myself, but that's how it goes. Can't always get everything. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here though, so yeah. Thanks for sticking around, and hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.